everybody. Welcome back to KF&JF podcast. We're still here doing that great work for the community by bringing entrepreneurs to the light. And we're so happy to have a special lady on our show today that will be bringing some really good, powerful information to our viewers. And once again, I want to thank you guys that are out there subscribing and listening to the show and being able to take the time to listen to these entrepreneurs' stories because there's so many differences that we all have in business, and so it's nice to learn from each other. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce our co-host again, who's going to do a great job of introducing himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers or subscribers or other business owners. We use a wide range of networking tools and methods to achieve results. We assist in the ideas associated with social media marketing, building your marketing profile, creating your marketing strategy, building your financial profile for your business, branding your product or merchandise. We may also determine the licenses are needed to operate your business, or owning your domain or buying into pre existing sites that host your page. We also assist by managing your website by selecting posts that create subscriptions, comments, and likes, or by generating comments on other individual business sites or pages that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. We also like to help by navigating through the thousands of companies that are asking you for money when there's free companies out there to assist you. And Ms. Woods, is nice to have you on the podcast today and share with us.
Well, thank you guys for having me. My name is Erica Woods. I'm the owner and founder of M Sugar Beauty, and we're a plant-based skincare brand that's geared towards people who are looking for skincare that's gentle but also very effective. And I know that finding products like that can often be a challenge in a market where there's so many products available to people. So we're hoping to get our products out into the market and get people connected who are looking for products like that, and getting them back into a mode where they can love this skin that they have and have healthy skin moving forward.
Well, that's great. I think that's a positive thing to have. It's good skin. Nothing like running around with some ashy skin. Thinking that you look all good, and the elbows is starting to shine. Like it's snowing outside, but
Well, your skin is part of
it's
your
got
first
glare on them.
impression.
So,
So,
Erica, you're right about that. I'd like you to talk a little bit about what inspired you to go into the skincare business.
well, one of the things that prompted me to start my brand, I have a health condition. I have an autoimmune disease. And oftentimes, when you struggle with autoimmune challenges, you have products, you try different things, and they'll irritate your skin. You can be very sensitive to ingredients, and it can be really frustrating. So, one of the things that I was focused on was trying to find things for myself. So my brand was really kind of built out of a little bit of a selfish need for me. But as I was doing that, I started to realize there have to be other people who are in my position that are also looking for products that are gentle but effective, because oftentimes people will think of things as being gentle and not really having enough oomph to get the job done. But as I started to kind of explore different botanical ingredients, and what they their effectiveness level for the skin, I really discovered that there were opportunities to create products that were both gentle and effective, and more plant-based in nature, that really pulled on the strengths of botanical ingredients. And that's really how M Sugar Beauty came to be. So it's not just a product for me, it's more of a passion, like sharing it with people who are really in the same boat that I've been in, and connecting with them through my own personal experience.
That's one of those things that I found out in a lot of these interviews that we've been doing lately is how people have started their businesses is something related to them. It's something
Mhm.
that either happened to them or something in their family that has driven them to either start a business or whatever path they've taken along
Yeah.
that way. Is it anything new that you got coming up in your product that you can tell our listeners about?
Well, we're always developing new products. I work with my formulator to help design and some of the ingredients that we've been working on adding to some of our products because we found that they're really effective. And again, also gentle, dark spot corrector. So where there are challenges, we have ingredients, and it may sound like weird words, but bakuchiol is an ingredient that has the same sort of power as retinols, which literally everyone should be using because they help regenerate the skin. But they are less irritating. Retinol can be very aggressive, and sometimes people don't quite understand. It's a medical grade ingredient, so there are often times where people kind of have a more is better attitude, and it can be damaging. But with bakuchiol, it's a very gentle ingredient, but it does pack a lot of punch. So that's something that we're looking at adding. And our next product, we introduced a body butter last year, which is our signature scent. The M in M Sugar Beauty stands for Magnolia. So our signature scent is Magnolia scented. It's absolutely dreamy and reminds me of Mississippi summers. But we're working on a dark spot corrector, which is next in line that a lot of people have been asking for because hyperpigmentation, especially in melanated skin, is typically a standard challenge. There's very few there are very few people who aren't interested in like reducing the number of dark spots or lightening certain areas where they've had bruising from acne, scarring, things like that. So dark spot corrector is next in line for us.
All right. Yes.
Can you also tell me a little bit? I mean, I think what you're talking about is an important part of, people having a little bit of confidence in who they are. And like you said earlier, skin is one of those things, first impressions that people look at. So it's kind of like, you want to have that good impression when you're meeting people, and because people are always looking all over your body to see if they can find something wrong with you. And it's just the culture we live in, the type of world we live in. So is it something that you are developing that's particularly interesting to you that you find to be one of the number one things you want to get out there to the public?
Well, honestly, our dark spot corrector is something that we all, especially in the black and brown communities where we have more melanin, when you scar or injure your skin in any way, whether it's popping a pimple or you run across a too aggressive skincare routine, can also create hyperpigmentation. And it's really important. You talk about, like I spoke about, first impressions. It's not necessarily always what someone else is thinking of you. It's how you're feeling about yourself. It's like when how you present yourself to the world and how you feel about that, the way that you're presenting yourself. For me, it's not necessarily what someone else is thinking. It's sometimes I am feeling, those insecurities, kind of come up when you're in a group or when you're on a podcast and you have to show your face. So it's the reason that the products that I offer are important to me is because I see the importance of them in other people's lives. I always see caring for myself, and self-care is something that people always say, and it seems to involve going to the spa or glasses of wine. But sometimes a quick morning routine where it's a couple of products that make you feel clean, fresh, your skin glows a little bit more, or even a scented body butter like ours, where you're at your desk at work and you pop it onto your hands and the scent gives you a boost. It's like having self-care that isn't a drawn out elaborate process, having making self-care part of your everyday routine. And I feel like all of our products come together to create that standardized, normalized self-care routine for yourself. And that's when I'm communicating with people. I do a lot of pop-up events. I talk to people in person. Even when people, I make sell products on my e-commerce, on my website. I'm constantly communicating with people via email and my DMs. They ask me questions about certain things. One of the things people love the most about my moisturizer is the scent. They said it makes them feel, it has like an energy to it. It feels energizing. Like a slight lemony citrus scent, but it's not an artificial fragrance. The scent that comes from it comes from the ingredients. There's no artificial fragrance in any of my products. There's, kind of no icky ingredients. Everything is vegan except the moisturizer, because it has bee propolis and because it's a live animal. It's not considered vegan, but there's no dairy or anything like that. So it's like all of it, I feel like, is super important. And there's nothing, I think the unifying the whole system, making the system work together and making it easy for people is the thing that we see as, our biggest challenge, as our, most important aspect of what we offer.
Right. I hear that.
I mean, I'm sure
I
that
think
was,
that you're
I'm
right,
sure it
that
might have
you
gone off
have
on a
a
tangent, but when I
connection.
talk about it, it really means
No,
to me.
No,
So it's because it saved me in a lot of ways, because I was really struggling. And as somebody who is struggling with an autoimmune disease, which is kind of like a silent illness, like I don't have a, one bad eye or a short leg. It's one of those kind of things where you don't necessarily know somebody isn't feeling that great. So it's like giving myself that ability to feel a little better a couple times a day, just making my skincare routine for me. It's made a huge difference.
Yeah, it builds confidence, right? It builds confidence.
100%.
And that is the
yeah,
first impression what
yeah.
somebody
I think
sees is your face and stuff right there. So yeah, that mostly definitely is important. I'm looking at is that okay, so when is there, how should I say, is there a certain time of age that we should be considering? Because I'm thinking about the dark spot things, and so we light skinned, and so I mean the
You get a little
I
more,
and
they got a little more oomph to them.
yeah. So
Well,
is there a time, like, what I mean, is there like, or I should say, is there
I
warning
thought he was gonna
signs
talk
of
about his
when
eye. I
we
thought
should
it was the
start looking?
eye.
Yeah.
well, you know
It,
what? The thing is, I think it's important to really build into kind of your lifestyle. You need to build skincare into that. People take for granted and they wait. It's like waiting for your car to stop to have the oil changed. It's like, why wait until it's broken to try to fix it? It's much more challenging to repair something than it is to maintain something. So even as a young person, I get every single event I do, I get a mom that shows up and is like, what is going on with my kid's face? Do you have anything that can help? And it's like, honestly, the thing that helps the most is consistency. Like, I've got great products that you can add to a consistent regimen, and then those are the building blocks and foundations of good skin. You don't wait until you are wrinkled like a prune and then try to make it a plum again. It's not going to happen. So you really have to kind of make the cognizant effort to add skincare to your, kind of maintenance. It's like it's going to be the oil change for you. But I think when people hear skincare routine or skincare regimen, they get really nervous and anxious, and they think they need 10 steps and this kind of thing. You need this treatment and that treatment. And honestly, you really just need to keep your skin clean and hydrated, clean, moisturized, and hydrated. If you do have challenges, that's when you kind of dip into the treatment aspect of it. But doing basic things, there's no time frame for when you should start skincare. You always have skin. Just like when we're babies, our parents make sure that we don't get diaper rash. They're caring for our skin. They rub baby lotion on us. Our grandparents slathered our faces in Vaseline. We still don't know why, but they did it. So it's something that starts to fall off your plate as you get older, because you don't think of it as an essential thing. And then later on, you're trying to make these corrective steps. The key is to always have it be part of your regimen, is always maintaining. That's the best way to have great skin, is maintain the skin that you have for as long as you can, not try to fix it once it's, kind of gone by the wayside. That's much more challenging. So you should always, always be focused on at least a core skincare routine.
All right. All right. So okay. So with that being said, so how did your how to say, okay, well, okay, we know you had a autoimmune deficient with the skin,
So
and
I'll cut
you
it
was
short.
looking
I'll
for that.
tell you
So
short. I have lupus. So that's what I suffer
lupus,
from. I suffer from lupus.
lupus.
And yeah, there are a couple of
Okay,
different
so how
things
did
that
your
go along
earlier
with
life
it.
experiences with lupus shape your aspirations and career choices? Okay, now we know this is a reason why why you started to do the lotion things, but how did this shape your career choices?
Well, it's funny that you say that. So I've been in the corporate world for 30 years, at minimum, 30 plus years. I'm aging myself. But in all that time, I was in events, advertising, sales, really high energy, intense level, kind of corporate environment. And having an autoimmune disease, there are a lot of physical things that go along with it, but there's also a mental and psychological side of it as well that is often challenging. And when the pandemic started, I kind of took some time, took a step back. I wasn't feeling well. I was really, really struggling. And I just decided I couldn't go back to the corporate world for my well being. It was just something I just didn't have the wherewithal to do anymore. And I decided I wanted to kind of pursue my passions. I had the time to do the research and kind of really dig deep and find the formulators who had and offered the ingredients that I wanted, because I didn't want it to be something that I like made in my kitchen, because I wanted to offer it to people who also I wanted to feel comfortable and confident offering it to people who had challenges. And something, not that there's anything wrong with kitchen chemists, some amazing products come out of people's homes, but I wanted the ingredients to be able to, kind of be completely sanitary and that sort of thing, because when you have an autoimmune disease, when you struggle with things that where your immune system is not 100%, it's like I didn't want to risk that. And so it took me a while, but I found a couple of different suppliers that were able to get me ingredients that I thought met my standards. And I found a formulator and a chemist that helped me work on the everything from the texture to the scent, to the way it feels when it's applied, because I wanted it to be an experience when you're using it. I want the serum to feel slick and cool, and I want the moisturizer to smell refreshing and feel hydrating, but not sticky. So, after many, 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 many versions of all of the products, we were able to come up with what works for me, as how I want to be presented, and my products, how my products are presented. And it just, I just couldn't, I felt like going back to the same hamster wheel that I had been on, as successful as I had been on that hamster wheel. I just wanted out of the cage. And this was something that gave me the opportunity to do that. It's been hard work. I actually feel like I work harder than I did when I was on that hamster wheel, but I own the hamster wheel. I am the hamster. So I feel a lot better about it. As hard as I work and, doing pop ups and being out meeting people, hearing people come back to me, say, "Oh, I saw you at the last event. I got the product. Oh, I can get it now. I love it." Hearing that feedback in person is amazing. I mean, I wouldn't change any of what I've done to not have done it.
So let me ask you this. Okay, giving the lupus, were there any influential people or mentors who guided you during the earlier stages of this journey that you was taking to make your product and get through your skin? Was it a skin condition
Yeah, well, you
crisis?
know what? Oddly, it was there were a couple of women who are in some pretty influential positions. They're just, they just happen to be friends of mine. But, a couple of them are also dealing with health challenges. One actually also has lupus. And the encouragement and kind of leadership from them about continuing to move forward, because that's really the hardest part. A lot of it is very, as far as the, being an entrepreneur, a maturepreneur at this point. So coming into something, there aren't a lot of resources for older entrepreneurs. There are a lot of resources for young entrepreneurs, a lot of financing. I bootstrapped everything. Everything I paid for has come out of my own finances. All my finances that come, any most of my revenue will go back into the business, to help us grow. But the mentorship of the people around me, who were not only kind of my colleagues, but girlfriends who were supportive, but also had that business experience. A couple of them are CEOs in their own right. So really my inner circle wasn't anybody in particular, some celebrity. I feel like a lot of our greatest mentors and support come from our own circle. We just don't often tap into it. And I got the opportunity to really tap into it. And, everything from accounting to marketing, I've gotten support and mentorship from within my own circle. And those are my role models, my heroes. Those are the women that support me. And I, hope to be able to support them in the future.
Okay. Okay. Um, is there a way that you can share a particular moment that you considered was the turning point in your life when you specifically said, "Okay, well, I'm going to stop trying to rely on other means to combat my condition and do it yourself"?
Yeah, there was a particular was there was a particular time where I realized how much money I was spending on products that were going unused. I was, just you go through this period where it was during the pandemic, and you go through this period where you're kind of purging and getting rid of things. You're creating a new space for yourself because now you're kind of trapped inside. And I started to clear out my like cosmetic and medicine cabinet. And I realized it was thousands of dollars of like failed experiments in skincare. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, there were treatments that I spent over $100 on. I used once and it caused me to be irritated. My skin flared up for 3 weeks, and it took, almost a month to get my face back to normal. Just looking at how much money was being wasted. and what a huge market there was for skincare. So I said, you know what? I know what I like and I know what I'm looking for. I wonder if there is a way that I can create something for myself, but that I can also share with other people. So that's kind of where it got started. I really was literally cleaning out my medicine cabinet and realized I'd just been throwing money at all of these big brands that weren't necessarily interested in someone who had skin like mine, whether it was, melanated skin or easily irritated skin or, skin that's, suffering from lupus. So it was, that was a turning point for me to realizing that I wanted to kind of free myself from the corporate world and this might be my opportunity. And I just I took the leap, and it was scary, you know, but it it was definitely, I felt in control. I felt more in control than out of control at that point, because changing careers and kind of deciding to do your own thing and be your own, being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, it's really a scary, you know, time in life. It's a very scary thing to do, especially as someone who's older. It's, and I keep saying that, but I'm in the 50 plus crowd. So for me, that's not to that's not something, it's not a time where I really felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to change my whole life around you. I felt like I'd done enough for other people. It was time to do something for me.
Right. Right. I like that. I
One
like that.
second, one second, one second. Hold up. You're in the 50 plus crowd. Don't mean that you can't just start a new life,
I'm not
because
saying
I
that
think
you
the
can't, but
50
it
plus
doesn't
crowd is
happen all the
important, because
time.
that's when you start realizing that working for somebody else ain't gonna carry you through what you feel in your life. Go
It's
ahead,
for
Razak. I
squares.
have to step in on that one, man.
But you know what? It's like, it's almost like a, I know Beyonce didn't wore out the word Renaissance, but I do feel like it's a Renaissance time for me, because I have skill sets that I've developed over, these last however many years, that I can now take that energy and those skill sets, that education, that knowledge, and even the good and bad experiences that I've had, and use that to my benefit. It's like the entire time I realized, like, I've been making these people money hand over fist, and I can do that for myself too. But it's having that confidence, those 9 to 5s, those desk jobs, there's security in them. That corporate environment, it is feeding you. And they feed you so that you stay around for dinner every day. And it's like you start to realize, like, I'm really putting in a lot of work, and what am I getting out of it? And I felt like I just wasn't getting anything out of it anymore. And I needed to do something where I filled my own cup, because it was definitely overflowing for, the corporate office, but my cup was being depleted. And so it was like, if I'm gonna pour something, if I'm gonna spend all day pouring glasses for somebody, they're gonna be for me.
Right. Right. I like the way you said. I like the way you
I
said
like
that.
the way you said it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
cup, you ain't gonna be. I don't know what you're getting at the table. You're getting fed, but it's top ramen. It ain't no steak and potatoes these days.
They're
It's
gonna
hard to
keep
buy
having
that.
you come
They pay
back,
you, but ain't
because
enough money with all the other
Man.
stuff going on.
all the other stuff. And then, I was in an environment where it started to feel toxic, and I wanted that freedom. Like, I don't mind getting up at the crack of dawn, which is normally when you have to participate in these, vendor fairs and things like that. You toting tents and inventory. But once you get set up and people start to drop by, and you're having these conversations, and you're, even collaborating with other vendors, it's like, oh, well, where do you pop up? Oh, well, tell me what you
Right.
do. Working together as a network, as a community of small business owners. And that's why podcasts like this are really important, because we don't always, to find the time as well, to kind of participate in all these things, because you are doing a lot. You're all the jobs, right? You're the marketer, your sales, your promotions, your inventory management, the shipping and whatever, shipping and
Yeah,
transportation, you're all of it. So
packaging and
finding
everything. Yeah.
Right. So finding time to connect with other entrepreneurs, hear their stories. Like I can watch a KF&JF podcast video while I'm sitting in my vendor booth. I can hear about somebody else's experience. And, sometimes people are having similar challenges as you. And you don't feel so alone, because small business owners can feel very alone very often. And, knowing that it's not just you that has whatever this particular challenge is, or it's not just you that's felt that way before. That in itself is empowering. It's like, oh, okay, so this is just how it works.
I like what you said right there. It's we have run across a few more than a few people who have mentioned other sites where a compiled amount of small business owners, black business owners, minority community, what I mean, are together in saying
Mhm.
that they all are business owners, and they're going to this website or whatnot. I don't want to plug any websites right now, but it's the thing of it is about what you said is that you don't talk to them. It's just like, okay, well, I can go and be a part of this group that's on Facebook, but I'm not actually talking to any of them. I'm
Right.
more so, just putting my business up there, and hopefully, maybe I can select somebody and say, hey, what is your business? Or I can look for you. It's more like just saying, hey, okay, well, I need this type of service. Let me look through these hundreds of people, and decide which ones that I can actually use, versus saying, the podcast is saying any one of you can come on the podcast and talk, and let's interact,
Hmm.
whether I need you or not. You know what I mean? So that would be a difference in the acknowledgement and celebrating. I'm thinking about putting together another type of like an invitation thing for a lot of these other websites where they have all these different companies and stuff, and these different little businesses right here. But I wonder if they can actually say that they actually communicate with each other
Hmm.
outside of knowing that this is your business. Who is this person? What I
Right.
mean? What are they going through? See that, and that's the thing you just touched on right there. KF&JF podcast. We actually want to know the person. We actually want to talk to you. What I mean, we want to know how what is motivating you to do this thing, and who would have known, if we didn't come up and have this interview with you, that your product is geared towards what is lupus, and
Hmm.
and this is the reason that you're getting it, what I mean, or you're making it and you're creating it. And a lot of people just don't understand that. I don't think that it's important to know the people that's behind the product, and a lot of the lives of the vendors. We might need to do a special segment. What I mean, like with the lives behind the
Yes.
vendors. What I mean, like not just your business, but how does we like to say. Let me ask you this while I was saying that. Um, could you tell us what in the reference to your vending business, you're going to all these vending events, you're trying to get this, what type of licenses were needed for you to make your product and go to these events and display them?
Well, because I use a formulator, that was one of the other reasons that I wanted. I use a professional chemical formulator. So I work with a chemist. They have all the licenses as far as my ingredients and products go. All I need to do is make sure that my labeling is correct and accurate, and that any, like where it's been manufactured. But as far as participating in the live vendor events, they're not super complicated. As long as you're not selling something like food, you just need a business license. And if you're set up properly, as a business, as you should be, um, that usually you just need a permit to sell in whatever city or area that is, and you are in business. And of course, whatever your, like, I use my point of sale service and all that sort of thing through a couple of different, like Shopify, Venmo, that sort of stuff. You want to make sure that you have all that up in place, and the logistics of what you want to, of course, deal with reputable vendors, make sure the organization level is there, and but they're very easy to participate in as long as you're established well as a business, and you know who you're working with. But as far as ingredients and that sort of thing on my product itself, I made sure that was one of the reasons that I wasn't, and a lot of people do home based stuff. But as long as everything is labeled properly, even with home based products, you just have to make sure that you meet the standard regulations that go along with cosmetic labeling.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that
Um,
was one of the other things I kind of figured out as I went along, because I'm one of the other items that we've been kind of investigating on doing is I've been working with somebody on sunscreen, but it's really challenging because it's considered a medical grade product. So that would take me like to a whole other level. Yeah, because in order for it to be called a sunscreen, it has to meet SPF standards, and it's considered a medical grade product. So you can't just like
okay.
sell like, cause skincare, standardized skincare without sunscreen or SPF in it is a little bit less complicated because it's not considered medical.
There was a recent event. I don't know if I want to ask. Maybe Keith, you might want to speak on a little bit. Could, when you go to these events, how should I say? Is there times when okay, like you go to an event and you like go there and you're preparing for all this, you're getting all your stuff together, you're traveling, you're getting gas, you're making all these preparations to go, and then you go there and the event doesn't pop for you, or you know what I mean, there's the people are not there.
All of
How do you come back from that? What do you think?
I say it happens often,
What happens
and
often?
and it'll happen for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it's weather, sometimes it's promotion. The marketing wasn't there, um, and sometimes it's a roll of the dice. But working with vendors, I find that working with vendors at events that I've worked with before, and then two, taking in consideration how much, because there's a fee to participate in each event. I've actually reached out to other people who've participated previously on social media, like find the vendor. It's like, hey, I'm thinking of, participating in XYZ event on, ABC date. How was your experience last time? And normally they'll be fairly honest with you, but I mean, it's a roll of the dice. It's a, mitigated risk that, everything doesn't, just like you have a good sales day, even if I were a retail store, there would be days where, I'd have tons of foot traffic, and then days where, I get nobody. So it's one of those, it's nothing that can be, I don't think, solidified. I don't know. Keith might think something different, but yeah, that's my experience.
Keith?
Yeah, I think that sometimes when you decide to go to a vending event, you have to have a bigger goal in mind, right? Because the goal of selling your product, yeah, is number one. But if you only go in there just to sell your product and you don't, you're just gonna be down, and you're not gonna feel as if this is the business for you. So you have to have other goals when you go to vending events. Networking, being able to get out there and meet other people, find out where they're going to their vending event, and seeing if you can, piggyback on information that you've got from certain events, so next year not to go to that event because you seem to have had 3 or 4 vendors that are telling you it's the exact same way every time they've went. So you build a little bit of information that you gather for these events, because I know that you can go there and not sell a darn thing, and then that is what enables people to feel negative about themselves, what they're selling, their whole approach to being in business, and you can't allow that to happen because I'll give you an example. My sister has a little business. She went out there and she put all this money into it, and she said, "I didn't sell nothing. I'm not going to no other event." I said, "Sis, you need to go to this other event with me." Well, she went to this other event, and somebody bought 8, 9, 10 of her dresses, one person. And she made like $500. She says, "I had some other people," and she came home. I said, "Oh, how was that event? You sure you still want to go out of business or shut your stuff down?" She said no, but she had to learn that,
Yeah.
and that's something that we all have to realize. It's called entrepreneurial for a reason, and the reason is risk.
Right.
You're taking a risk, and that risk is part of the business. But the gratification when you start to get those sales and people start to recognize you, then you 100% know you on the right track. Because
Right.
eventually, money cannot always be, something we can just get every time. We're getting knowledge, we're getting information, we're building our tools, our tool
Right.
sets getting better. We got more things to pull out to make our tent look better or whatever. So that's my point about why it's important for the entrepreneur to stay in it and keep the spirit alive, because once you decide that you're going to walk away from it, then you'll look back on that. I guarantee you'll look back on it and say, when you go to a vending event with your purse and you buying somebody else stuff, you know what you're gonna be saying? "Oh, I used to have that. Oh, I could do better than that. Oh, I probably could, my stuff was a lot better than that." Well, you didn't stay in the game, so somebody else is taking your
Right.
spot, and
You got to
they're
stay the
getting their
course.
stuff sold. So that is the reason why you got to stay the course. This is part of the entrepreneurial spirit. And one of the questions I want to ask you, and I'll kick it back to you, Razak, is that what's unique about yourself? What is unique, a fun fact that nobody knows? With all these things that you got going on, I know there's something about you that nobody knows.
About me, I don't know that I'm unfortunately, probably for better or for worse, I'm a bit of an open book, but I don't know. I don't have
No, you're
anything
not.
secretive, but I am, and this, I don't know, this may turn people off. Unfortunately, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan who lives with a San Diego Chargers fan. So it's a very conflicted household. I am a football gal. So I very it's so funny because my brand is very aesthetically feminine. It's my roots are in the South, like Natchez, Mississippi. Spent so much time there and love it there. So it's kind of got a Southern Belle vibe. But part of being a Southern Belle is football. People don't realize that. So I am definitely a football person. I don't always seem that way, I guess, but I cannot wait for football season to start. At this point, I'm just itching for football season.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna take a little break because this is
Okay.
this is too much. We have too much in common here. First of all, you from San Diego. Your husband go to Morris High School. I went to Morris High School. I'm an absolute Charger fan, 100% Charger fan, all over
Both
the
up,
place. Even though
baby.
we got to have a heart for the Chargers because we lose. Okay, and then the other part is I'm from Louisiana. My mother's a diehard
What?
Saints fan. My brother's a diehard Saints fan. They killing each other. We fighting each other in the family when we both sad. We ain't
Who
going
that?
nowhere. But it's just like, man, what are you doing over there?
Listen,
Louisiana, you New
so
Orleans. That's my whole life. These two
my
teams are
entire
my life.
family is from the deep
Oh my
south.
god.
Natchez, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louis. I'm sorry, Natchez, Mississippi. Half my family lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I mean, the whole the it's literally like my dad was one of 10, I think. And so I have tons of family down there. We go there for our family reunion every year. Literally, my logo is a magnolia, which is the state flower of Mississippi and Louisiana. We're like twin cities. Natchez is right on the border of Louisiana, like near Vidalia. So is definitely that southern neck of the woods. And my husband is we have season seats to the San Diego Chargers since they moved to LA. The only reason we didn't have them when they were in San Diego because we didn't want to drive to San Diego every week. But we've had season seats for since they moved to Los Angeles. So when they were at Dignity, and now that they're in SoFi, we have seats. So we're
I
there
am
every
so done with you.
game.
Yeah.
I am so done with you. You are my Charger fan too. I am so done.
The
This is
only game my husband doesn't get to go
crazy
to is when
because
we play the Saints, because
you
then
gotta
I
have
take
a heart for
whoever I
them. I'm
want.
telling you.
I know there's a lot of noise in
Oh
that
my
house right
God!
there, huh?
You gotta you know what? Yeah, yeah. You got the same relationship
I
I
was
have with
saying
my
there's
wife. When I was two,
I could
she was San
imagine
Diego. I
the
was moving
tailgate
at the
party on that
SoFi. But
right there.
anyway,
Oh, definitely. We've tailgated a
Yeah.
couple times. Tailgating
oh
is
my
always a
goodness,
blast. I mean, and you can tailgate without actually going into the game. People, I mean, they have whole setups, the tailgate lot,
yeah.
the Bolt
Oh
Pride
goodness.
group, and all of the, because there are a couple of very, very like prominent tailgating groups that are affiliated directly with the franchise. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there are hundreds of people out there, and when I tell you those, something about football
Wow.
tailgaters is one of the most supportive groups of people in ever. Like they have to be there at dawn to get that stuff going. It's like a church. They are there every
Yeah.
single game,
Well, it's like a
prepared.
vendor. It's like a vendor event.
It's like a vendor event,
It's like
you know.
like a vendor event.
Yeah, and they network. They're out there networking and they raise funds. A lot of it's really
Yeah.
kind of cool. But
Yeah.
when you were mentioning the vendor events and what you get out of them, and sometimes they're not always, kind of what you're expecting, but you get to do that recon. You're looking at people's booths and you see, kind of how they've got it set up. Some of them I've even, like because I have product that has to be stacked and displayed. You're looking for structural elements, things that travel well. Oh, she's got a folding display. I wonder how small that folds down, because you end up with extra power sources and things like that. Like a girlfriend of mine who's also a vendor, she had this really cool like multi-port charger, and it made it so because you're constantly using your phone. I use my cell phone as a POS system, so my phone has to stay charged. If my battery in my cell phone dies and I have no way to charge it, I have no way to take credit cards. So
Right.
it's like I have to constantly be, connecting with people who go to different events in different areas. So I do a lot of events in the Inland Empire because I have friends in the Inland Empire, but it's not necessarily my home area. But it's been very successful for me. There are a couple events that I did a few years in a row, and I've noticed, that even the size of an event, it can have, they say they're going to have 1,000 people, but if the logistics of the event aren't right, where that 1,000 people has no reason to stick around. If I go to an event that says they're going to have 500 people, but they have opportunities for them to stick around, they got face painting for the kids, they've got food trucks, those people are going to live there a little while. Some of it all depends. So finding that out as you go and finding that out from other people and their experience, like all of that is part of the whole small business and entrepreneurial element that you have to kind of live in as a small business owner. Like you can't just say, being in small business is not just being able to say I have a small business. Like you are part of a community of small business people who are working to do those same things and build the same kind of business that you want to have, a successful one, a strong one with longevity. And getting that information from people who are in the trenches with you is like invaluable. You can't get it anywhere else. You can read it in a book, but hearing from someone who's having that live experience is a totally different beast.
Right. Right. Yeah, this is see I like when the conversation gets to an education of other vendors. we're not only just touching on your product or touching you as a person. We're touching on the experience level that you have right
Mhm.
here as a vendor, and anybody who's a vendor seasoned or just getting into it can benefit from the
Mhm.
conversation that we're having right now. And let me dial it back for a second now. I had asked you earlier about those other things because I wanted to ask you what were the challenges and the setbacks though that you had in making your product. What were some of the challenges? What were the and what which ones played a crucial role in your product's development or yourself as a person in developing the person that you needed to become from coming to the corporate world to having your own business, dealing with a skin condition, and being, I guess I would say, more presently seen. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because if I know, I'll be on these podcasts. I'll be like, I kind of be aware what a light is. How what everybody's looking. So, when we try to prepare somewhat for these. So, what would that be like that for you if you have a skin condition and you're making something for your skin and now and now you're being now you're in a sense presenting yourself before the world. So that's a definite confident boost. It sounds like to me.
Well, you would think the so because of the fact that I have kind of done everything behind the scenes for a really long time, the biggest challenge for me is what I is determining the difference between what I originally kind of saw as self promotion and promoting my business, because I've never been someone from a personality like I'm a congenial person. Like people, I talk a lot, as is evident, but I'm not really like a front of the camera, social media, taking pictures all the time. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm eating. Look at my outfit kind of person. But because social media is such an essential part of small business, it was something I had to find a solution for. And things like this, like I've done, a couple of things, similar to, like talking on a podcast or doing like a live with someone. But it's taken a lot for me to realize that I can be I can be the face of my business. I can be my brand, but I can still have my personal and private life too. So it was, there's just such a weird dynamic, especially nowadays on social media, in what is too much. But, as far as from a personal perspective, because I there were insecurities, intense insecurities about a lot of different things when it came to my person. But hearing from people who are impressed with my product, or have positive things to say, and even the constructive criticism from people. I've had people say things that not necessarily hurtful, but you're like, oh, okay, maybe I could improve that part of what I do a little more. And it's odd to me because I was always in events and advertising. I always had to do presentations. I've always been in front of clients. But because someone else was paying me to do it, it felt like it was the job. But I had to realize that this is the job that I have now. This is my job. My job is my business. And I need to have that same aspect. I did do a lot of what I consider like kind of hiding as a business owner, you know, and that was really the biggest challenge. Like I could find someone to make my website, I could find someone to, help me with marketing or advertising. I could find someone who that was their specialty. But then I realized some of those
Go to
things,
go to the broker.
I
There's a
could
guy
do as
down there
well.
tripped it with his.
Okay. Is there are there specific daily habits or routines that you believe contribute to your productivity and your well-being?
Definitely, for sure. So, one of the things I try to do every day as part of my business is practice gratitude, because the day before may not have been spectacular or even a qualified as a decent day. So, every day I try to wake up and be grateful for what I do have, what has happened to me, the positive things that are going for me uh, in that moment, and being in that moment and moving forward with the day from there. And the other thing is creating lists. I know everybody isn't a list person, but I feel like with list, you can write things down no matter, how long the list is. It's not about looking at the length of the list. It's about looking at the things that you completed. So lists are like really important to me. I've used lists my whole work life in my entire career in corporate, and even more so as a business owner. I use them for when I'm vending, making sure that I have everything with me. I use them when I'm developing like marketing, when I'm advertising, making sure that I have all of the things in place as part of my advertising, like a call to action to make sure that I've, kind of covered all my bases. So those are probably the two things that are the most intentional that I do in my business every day that are habits.
Okay. Okay. Let me I know we had this our little interruption. We had some technical difficulties, and we're back. I don't think we covered this area right here. So and if we did, I mean, let's we can always do something more. There's always more we can. We're gonna dig into everything. Go inside your brain a little bit.
Right.
So let me see. Who are the individuals you look up to as a role model, or a mentor, or somebody who's guided you through life, and how have they influenced your values and mindset when it comes to living life and being a business owner, or creating your business?
I think we did cover it a little bit. And one of the things that I mentioned, I believe, is that there are women around me that have supported me. They're not celebrities, they're not political figures, they're actual people in my life who are, executives at organizations, people with, decades of experience in a variety of fields. But their support and guidance and mentorship has meant the world to me. And I feel like it's something that entrepreneurs overlook. They tend to want to, kind of, their coaches and things like that. Of course, people who are professionals at what they do as far as guiding small businesses, those are essential as well, and, can be extremely valuable. But in my situation, I've found that the people around me, because I have worked in the corporate world a really long time, in a lot of different positions, like in diversity, advertising, marketing, events. So having people who have that hands-on experience that happen to be in my circle has been great. Even legal representation and accountants, so it's not about them being role models, but as more so them being supportive mentors that have been under my nose the whole time. But because I decided to, kind of launch this entrepreneurial journey, I've been able to tap into the people around me. It's been really great. It's actually built a lot of the relationships that I've had even further, made them stronger, and really given me some tools to work with. So my fortunately, I have a lot of fantastic people around me that I've been able to draw their experience from.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's always important to have that support system in place
Right.
whenever you're doing the going through life and doing business. Because I know we had I don't know if we had this. Well, we had this conversation before about, I mean, support system and everything, and I have a lot of different people have different kind of aspects to it,
Hmm.
and I see it as not everybody's going to be there. Not everybody's going to give you the support, family or friends.
Hmm.
Some people may look at it as just okay, like, hey, you're doing something new. They don't know how serious you are
Right.
about it. I mean, they don't know if you was really gonna, hey, I'm pushing this line,
The
man, I'm trying to get
commitment
it here.
level.
Yeah, the commitment level. What I mean, and I think some people just don't. Maybe you people know you. like I say, everybody has different personalities. There's a person that you are when you're at this vending event and you're trying to sell your products to this customer who's coming by. That is a different person than we might see who might be up in the kitchen cooking, watching a show or
Mhm.
something. You know what I mean? That you're those are two different times, two different mindsets. So it's always good to have that support system. And so let me ask you this: as and with that in mind, with the support system in mind, let me ask you this: in the sense of saying, is there? Well, the question goes: is there a specific book that have had a profound impact on your perspective or your outlook on life? So I know you do a lot of. You said you do some chemistry stuff like that. Was there something that you read that made an impact on what you was doing, or that you had to do research?
One of the books, it's not a science book, but I do read a lot of I read a lot of historical fiction. I read a lot of historical nonfiction, but this book is sort of like a self-help type motivational book. It's by a woman named Brene Brown, and the book is called The Gift of Imperfections. And it's about leaning into what you see as your flaws or your shortcomings in a different way and seeing those as kind of a superpower, taking them into perspective and really understanding that we all have those, and to not see them as this negative thing, but to really kind of build on the idea that it's what makes you different, but it's also what makes you unique, and therefore gives you a different perspective on things out of that imperfection, and you see it as a gift. And it's one of the books that really kind of is given me the opportunity to empower the things that I've always felt were either challenges for me or, like a shortcoming. And another book that I love is, I think, Start With Why. It's by Simon Sinek. And it's really about finding the reason why you're doing something as a leader. And they're both sort of leadership books. And people always think of leadership books. I read a lot of leadership books, and people think of leadership books as you're leading other people. But when you're reading leadership books, you should also think about how you're leading yourself through your life, through your day, through your business. And those two books have had a really significant impact on the way that I approach my business, and really kind of built the tenacity that's required as a small business owner to kind of self reflect and not be so critical of ourselves, because others are going to, there's plenty of criticism to go around from other people. So to add, in a way, insult to injury by being hypercritical of yourself is not beneficial. I haven't found it beneficial. And some of those, I feel like when I'm reading like leadership books, which is something that I was reading in my corporate career, as far as being in management and things like that in business, as far as leadership at my events and for my marketing side. But really self-reflecting and having those kind of looking back at myself as far as how I'm self-managing as a leader for me in my business. So the Start With Why by Simon Sinek and Gift of Imperfections by Brene Brown are two of my favorite books. I've actually read Start With Why like multiple times.
Okay, okay, that's like a question we throw out there. You know what I mean? Some people don't realize that, you know what I mean, not everything is online, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, or not unless you're reading an ebook or something like that, I guess. But a lot of times, the paper is still relevant, you know what I mean, it has valuable information. Okay, let me ask you this, and then we can get off into your products. But I guess actually this does, I don't know, you might have kind of answered it, but without knowingly being asked it. But how do your cultural preferences influence your creativity or decision making in your professional life?
Well, I feel like culturally, as a black woman, a black person, my culture is always going to have an impact on everything that I do, if for no other reason than making my ancestors happy, as far as being successful. And it's really important to make people proud. You want your family to be proud of you, especially in our community, like we are a village. But it also helps me, what my intention is always to make sure that we're often unseen or in the background, that the relevance of my product speaks to our community, speaks to people who look like me, and they feel seen. They feel like my products are, something that they can use, and it's not designed for, someone that's not them. So, of course, like I said, as a black person, I feel like my culture is is part of who I am. It's not something separate from me. So whatever it is that I'm doing is a reflection of my culture, and my brand is a reflection of my culture. I mean, my brand, my logo is, I think I mentioned it before, is the state flower of Mississippi, where I have deep roots. My dad was born and raised there. I have, probably hundreds of cousins there. So having that as part of my aesthetic was important to me, because I consider, where I'm from, and where my DNA lies as part of my culture. So and having products that are good for melanated skin, making sure that we do address that. Was one of the things as far as the effectiveness of some of the ingredients. So yeah, I mean, my culture definitely plays a huge part. My culture is who I am. So everything I do is always going to be based in my culture, in my African American culture, my African roots. So
Right, right. Okay. And with that little introduction to your products, let's say we dive off into it and see what you got for us.
all right, well, I'm gonna jump over here. All right, so since we're now talking about my products, we have a full skincare line. So we have our Get Fresh With Me cleanser, which is made with carrot and kale, very gentle for the skin, also very healing for the skin. So anybody who's dealing with dark spots, any sort of acne, the cleanser is really gentle and effective. So it doesn't dry out the skin. It's low foaming, really great product. And then we also offer a serum, which is our Balancing Act Red Tea Replenishing Serum. So it contains natural, all of our products contain natural ingredients. So the natural ingredients in our red tea serum is, it's rooibos red tea, and it's hyaluronic acid. And hyaluronic acid is a hydrating molecule. Basically, it holds tons, 10 times its weight in water. So it's able to make sure that the product digs deep into the epidermis and really hydrates the skin. So if you're experiencing dryness, or looking for something to give you kind of a glow, the Balancing Act Serum helps balance the skin pH and keeps the skin hydrated. And then we also have our moisturizer, which is our best seller. It's the Give It a Glow Turmeric and Echinacea Brightening Moisturizer. So this is where kind of the appeal for melanated skin. It If you have melanated skin, some dark spot correctors can be a little bit harsh, and if not used properly, they can cause hyperpigmentation. But our moisturizer is a daily product that you can use without any sort of irritation, won't cause any additional hyperpigmentation. But the turmeric inside of the moisturizer is very powerful for skin healing and even tone. And then the echinacea is also a healing herb that is known in the botanical field, in botanicals, to be healing as well. So this moisturizer, in addition to the turmeric and echinacea, and you may recognize golden seal, is something that people often take when they are, looking for an immune boost. So the turmeric and echinacea moisturizer also contains golden seal. And like I said, this is our best seller. It also comes in a container that keeps it airtight, and you can just pump it down. It gives you one application, lasts a full 30 days. So people just love it. But the full skincare set is very simple to use. It's kind of a 1, 2, 3. You cleanse, use your serum, and moisturize, and you can do that twice a day. It's easy breezy. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed with skincare systems, and they think they need, 5, 10 different elements or items to, have a full complete regimen. And this isn't that. It's very simple. We offer it as a kit, but we also offer it in our duos. One of the other products that we have is our body butter. This is our signature body butter. It's magnolia scented. It's scented like our logo is a magnolia. So this is our signature scent for the line. And the body butter is also all natural, vegan, rich, emollient, but it's not oily or greasy. So it absorbs very easily into the skin. And we also offer all our products in like a duo set. So you can get the moisturizer and cleanser. If that's something that is appealing to you, you can also buy everything separately. But this is our full line. So we have a moisturizer, a cleanser, a body butter, and a serum.
When you say to the little dark spots on the face, I had an auntie. She had like those little dark, like I
That
don't know,
under
like
eye, dark
colorful
under eye
thing.
circles.
Yeah, is that what you're referring to when people have those little puffy eyes and then they start turning different colors or something?
Well, you can have dark under eye circles from a lot of different things. It can be age related, it can be care, it can be a medical condition, or it could just be dryness and hydration. We don't have an eye cream as part of our line yet, but it's something that we've been working on and considering that you would use specifically under the eye. But the moisturizer, the turmeric and echinacea moisturizer, can definitely be used in the under eye area because it is gentle. There's nothing in it that would cause irritation to the eye. You can moisturize your entire face and then just add a little extra under your eye if you're having challenges with dark under eye circles.
Okay, okay.
Really,
Um,
hydration is the most important part. A lot of people take for granted that their skin is moisturized, but there's a difference between, like moisturization, like kind of rubbing something on your skin and actually staying hydrated. It's important to keep the inside of your body hydrated because your skin will be a reflection of that. And, also making sure that you're not using drying cleansing products. Like that's one of the reasons our cleanser is low foaming. Typically, when you use something with a lot of bubbles, it means it has a lot of sulfates. All our products are sulfate free, and they can be stripping of the skin. Some are very safe, but oftentimes in drugstore grade products, there are some great ones, but you have to watch kind of the content of some of the products. But our cleanser is extremely hydrating. It doesn't leave your skin feeling dry or tight. Oftentimes, if you wash your face and it feels tight, people think it's clean and it's not, it's dry. Your skin will inevitably have to work harder to stay hydrated. Your skin should feel refreshed and plump after you wash it, not dry or tight. Um, and that's like a misconception with a lot of people is thinking that their skin is clean because it feels tight, and then you go to try to rehydrate your skin, and your skin shouldn't feel dry or tight after you wash it. It should feel clean.
Now, in the description, may I want to say I was listening, but let me ask you anyway. Okay, this is of total body cream or
Well, we have
thing that we
two.
use, right?
We
Let's
have
do.
two things. So we have our turmeric and echinacea moisturizer, which is the smaller jar, but we also do offer a separate product that's a body butter. So our turmeric and echinacea moisturizer would be for your face, your neck, anything kind of above your shoulders. But we do also offer a body butter, which is a body cream, a lotion for all over body hydration.
And this is it a condition with the skin, or I know it's we had mentioned melon the product, but at the same time, is it more geared for females, or is it man friendly? Is it?
Anyone can use the product. So the cleanser is unscented, so it doesn't have any fragrance at all. So you can
Yeah.
wash any kind of skin with it and not feel. And some people love you. Some men love a good fragrance. Everybody has their own preference, but the cleanser is fragrance free, as is the serum. So both of those have zero fragrance. And the moisturizer is also fragrance free. It does have a slight citrus scent, but that comes from the ingredients. It actually has, like, I don't know if you know what, like a bergamot smell, but not like a smoky burger. There's a couple different kinds, but this is more the one that's a little bit lemony.
Okay.
And that comes from the natural ingredients. It's not a fragrance. And the better part about that is, one of the things that when I was working on the product and kind of formulating everything, there's no reason for you to have products that have fragrance on your face. Your face doesn't need to smell good. And when brands or products have fragrance, it's really more about a kind of a sensory situation. So that the fragrance is added, so it gives you kind of this emotional connection to that scent, right? As you're making, cleansing your face or whatever it is. But the scent that's in our moisturizer, it dissipates after a few minutes. So you don't smell it later on because it is natural. It's there when because the product is dispensed fresh each time. It's in an airless jar, and there's a pump. Actually, I have one on hand. So this is the top of the jar. This is it with the lid on. This is it with the lid off. So when you dispense the product, you pump it down, and
Oh,
a little bit comes out. So everything else inside is hygienically sealed. It doesn't get air, it doesn't get dirt. You just take all the product off of the top, and it dispenses just enough for you to have one application. And whatever is left, you can put on your hands, because I often use this for my hands. But yeah, that's actually, yeah. And then this, we talked about the two different moisturizers. This is the body butter. So this is going to be the one that you would use. Oh, can't get it. This is the one that you would use all over your body. So this is like a body cream or lotion. This is going to keep your skin hydrated, keep your elbows, keep the ash at bay. And it's not
uh,
super heavy. We wanted to make it so that it wasn't greasy. So it's more of a light, creamy formula. I don't know if the light, there you go. It's more of a light, creamy formula, but it's very rich and hydrating. So gives your body a nice glow, but you don't feel like buttered up.
right. Let me ask you a question that might be in everybody's mind. Okay, and when it comes to the activities of a person, would you say a how should I say, would somebody who's doing sports, who may be sweating all the time and they're showering all the time, or a doctor or something who got to wash his hands all the times, or somebody who applies makeup, does makeup, and they gotta keep wiping their face and
Mhm.
reapplying makeup, and or hair. Does this go inside for all these type of people, that their activities that they may have as they're using it, or before or after or during while they're using it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, with like the body butter, if you're washing your hands all the time, you'll be applying it more. But the skincare portion of it, you're giving yourself like a really quality base by having a skincare regimen in place. So even if you're someone who has to apply and reapply makeup throughout the day, as long as you're not having to re-cleanse your face, and it can be used in the morning and at night. So it's not something that is strictly for the morning. It's not something that's strictly for the evening. You can use it multiple times a day for like an athletic or sport routine, and it works really well. I've got a lot of customers who are repeat buyers for their teens, because it's really simple. And one of the things I think that young people find complicated in skincare is that they come with all these different products. There's a scrub, there's a treatment, there's a this, there's a that. But the cleanser, the moisturizer, and the serum used regularly and consistently can help get them towards better skin and get them into a routine, so that they become familiar with, making sure that they're cleansing, morning and evening, or even just evening. I know a lot of people tend to just cleanse in the morning, but one of the tips I always like to give is that if you're going to wash your face once a day, you should wash your face in the evening, because when you wash your face in the evening, you're kind of taking off all of the muck and environmental stuff that's been floating around, all the sweat and grime, and lying down in your bed on your clean pillow sheets. If you're only washing your face in the morning and you take all that muck to bed, you're going to wash your face in the morning again, and you'll always be putting your head on kind of a dirty pillow with all this stuff. But if you wash it at night, you're taking your face fresh to bed. And then, of course, always change your linens, often, especially if you suffer from acne or having breakouts. There's a lot of
Right.
people, especially young people, they'll, God only knows how old a pillowcase is. But
Right. That's what
yeah,
you don't
no,
tell.
it,
That's what, yeah.
yeah, but it does. It works for a lot of different, because of the fact that it's kind of like one, two, three, and go. It's,
Mhm.
not a super complicated routine. Doesn't require a lot of, complex time. It's very quick, and it fits into a lot of lifestyles and schedules. And the other thing is that because we also offer the duos, which are, either the moisturizer and the cleanser and the serum. If you have something that you really really love, because there are products that people just will not part with, ours can integrate easily into what you're already using, and not, because it's gentle, and the ingredients aren't complicated or chemical based, it doesn't interact with anything negatively that you may already be using, so it's always easily integrated into your existing skincare too.
Okay.
That's great.
Keith, you got
That's
a question?
great. Sure, sure. I'm just listening to you guys' good conversation regarding skincare and the importance of how it's used, because some people really don't know how to take care of their skin. When you're talking about washing your face before you go to bed, those are one of the things that I know a lot of people just think that, oh, they just don't really pay attention to it. But the fact that you're passing on the dirt to your pillow every single night, but you do need to have something on your face that allows you to moisturize it to soak in. It's the
Hmm.
same thing with your feet. Back in the day, you're supposed to put all this stuff on your feet, put your sock on, and go to bed. So when you wake up, your feet's all nice and moisturized because it absorbed everything during the night. So it's the same
Yeah.
thing that you're talking about with your product, and I understand that to be important. And the way you're explaining that is an important part of the education that needs to happen out there. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, on the other one of them is a pump and you get the proper
Hmm.
portion that you need. The other one is not that way. Is there a reason why you didn't make that in the same type of container as well?
Well, with this, the reason that I made it with this is that I wanted to maintain the integrity of the ingredients in this, because
Mhm.
when they're exposed to the air, they can kind of gelatinize a little. You probably have seen it in some of the
Mhm.
products that you've used. Yes, that little weird thing around the top, and nobody wants that. And it makes it so it dispenses easily. You know exactly how much you need, so you don't overuse product. You're not slathering on more than you need. If you have extra dry skin, of course, you can take a second pump, or you really just enjoy that extra moisturized sensation, you can do that too. But it helps the product last longer. It helps you get, more bang for your buck. And what's really cool about these containers is they are TSA size. So when they're empty, and I always try to do what I can to kind of save the environment as best as I can, but these are refillable, so you can put other products in them. We're working on trying to make it so that you can buy a refill for these. But until then, you can use them to put other products in. Like you say, hand lotion, you can put hand lotion in it, leave it on your desk, and it's cute. And, you just peel off the label, sort of thing. But the reason I chose this airless jar was for the integrity of the product. Like, I wanted to make sure that you're getting the same product on day 28 that you're getting on day one. I don't want it to be a different texture. I didn't want it to have, kind of, because, and two, the safety of it, people leave things open. This is a lot easier. You're putting something on your face. You want it to be as sanitary as possible. It's in this jar. It's every time it's swiped, it seals itself back up. I just love those.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
one of those things that you when you said that, I was thinking, when if you let mayonnaise sit, and you know how
Hmm.
you get that weird stuff around. I was thinking when you said that,
That's why they put it in a squeeze
that's
bottle now.
probably what you're talking about because it.
Mhm.
I guess, well, because
That's
it's
why they put it in a squeeze bottle now. Oh,
because what it is the texture. It starts to the the water in the product that keeps it that moist, kind of gives it that moist
mhm,
feeling, and that's part of
right,
the formula. It evaporates, and as it evaporates, it
right.
starts to get jelly like. And there have been times where,
Coagulate. It starts to
yeah,
coagulate.
exactly, it
Yeah,
starts to coagulate, and then it
yeah.
changes. You're not going to get all your product. You're going to want to throw it away before you need to. And then again, people, you're maintaining, you're keeping, largely people keep their skincare in the bathroom. There's a lot of moisture in your bathroom, which is the reason that we use mildew removers and things like that. So it's like some of all of that is also kind of floating around in the environment. So you want to make sure that, everything is as secure as it can be. So my serum is in a glass bottle also for the ingredients that are in it. It doesn't need to be in a tinted bottle, so it's fine, but glass works well for serums. And the good thing about that is that when you're putting product on your skin with a dropper, sometimes you'll see people on the internet like touching a dropper to your face to dispense product. Don't do that, because when you do that, you're contaminating not only the applicator, but you're contaminating the product. So we use the serum in a dropper so that you can take the serum, put it into your hand, put your hands together, and then pat it onto your face, because you don't want to take your applicator and touch it to anything. I cringe when I see people like touching their face with their applicator and like dragging it down. It just makes me want to scream. But but everything is packaged the way it's supposed to be packaged for a reason. Like the cleanser, I put in a flip cap tube. Also, nice and easy to use. Close it right up. You can store it so you get all your product. You can store it flat on your countertop. Everything runs to the bottom. When you open it up, everything comes right out. You're not like beating a container like a soap bottle or something to get it all out. So, I put a lot of thought into what was in my products and also what I put my products in. So, hopefully people appreciate it.
You're right.
That's great. That's great. I'm starting to think about a couple of other things when you showed all of that product that you have there is, have you been working on a trademark? Or are you working on putting it into other stores such as Target, Walmart, or any other places like that? Or are you doing this from basically from word of mouth, pushing it out that way first in order for you to get the clientele base you want?
We're definitely a bootstrap organization. So currently I'm just kind of trying to get visibility, exposure, get my customer base built. There's a there's a plus and a minus to being on the shelves in retailers. I have some local retailers that I've been in communication with about having it in stores locally. So it's definitely something I'm, pushing towards. That exposure will help, in the long run. But right now we're just e-commerce and our live events, our pop-ups. But over the next several months, we'll definitely be pushing towards um, kind of expansion and see where that takes us, what makes sense for us. Distribution can be tough, like especially with there are a lot of contractual restrictions with distribution and getting on shelves in stores. And I do not want to kind of take the leap before I need to. I want to make sure my ropes are secure before I take any kind of really big jumps.
Right.
Well, that's
Right.
that's understandable. That's an entrepreneurial thinking spirit because you already know the basis behind that, right? It's your money, and
Right,
anytime you're running, as a entrepreneur, you're putting your money in it. Every bit and you put in, it's got to be, put in a place that's driving you forward.
right,
And you know that if you lose it, you lose it. You ain't getting it back. So
right.
I want to ask, along that line, what are some of the life lessons that you ran across in the process of not only taking your product to the public, but just in establishing it all together through your business?
Well, as far as life lessons, I feel like my biggest life lesson was if you don't try, you never know. If you don't try to do something, you never know if you can. You can talk yourself out of things faster than you can talk yourself into them. But that taking those first steps is super important. Like it doesn't get more important than just, it's like, you know, like that shoe manufacturer says, you just got to kind of do it. But it's,
Oh,
and trusting myself, trusting my intuition, understanding that I have the skill set required to do what I need to do, and being confident in that. And I think the last, oh, sorry, it's my dog. The
no, you're
last
good.
life lesson that's most, I think is most, really the, kind of like most important is be comfortable asking for help. You don't know, I don't know everything about website design. I don't know everything about SEO. I don't know everything about chemical formulations. I don't know. There are things I don't know. And making assumptions about things or wasting time spinning your wheels trying to find it online, or, trying to find someone to tell you how to do it, when you could reach out to people who do it for a living, reach out to people who have that skill set, and delegate and pay someone to do it. Making investments that make sense, and not being so afraid to run out of money or spend money that you don't get things done. You end up with spending more money, wasting more time. It's like finding people who know what they're doing that can help you do it and do it well.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I think that's a good answer and a very important aspect of how we should be thinking about things. I'm going to ask you this question, then I'm going to pass it on to Razak for a couple of questions as well. And one of them is to tell us a little bit about the legacy that you um, want to leave or you intend to push as you're going through your entrepreneurial journey. So in leaving that legacy, what are some of the things that you see that people will take from you?
Well, I hope that people see that following your passion is important, and doing the things that make you feel whole are important. It's something that I had put on the back burner. It was kind of this dream I had, and I never thought I would be able to do it. I didn't think I had the wherewithal or the tenacity to do it, and or even again the skill set. But it was once I made that decision that I no longer wanted to kind of put my efforts into organizations, businesses, people who, if I fell off the face of the earth the next day, they would just replace me. So I decided that I mattered enough to myself, and that my dreams and passions mattered, and that I wanted to pursue that. And the legacy that I want to leave behind, I know people want to build, multi-billion dollar empires, and, that would be fantastic. I'm not saying that's not something that I would love to make money hand over fist, and, be independently wealthy and travel all the time. But I want my son, my daughters, my husband to see that I pursued my passions, and, tried to do something that made me happy, and took risk, and hopefully all those risks pan out for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Razak.
Yeah.
Razak.
Um. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I like your answers. I like your answers. A lot of people sometimes don't have the they don't foresee what's going on. You know what I mean? I see you're looking ahead. And you're planning for the future. And in this makes me ask this one. There's some questions we have in here, and there's some questions that we tend to just write out and think of as we go along. But I think this one kind of applies. Can you highlight any emerging technologies or innovations that are shaping the landscape with your business?
Well, the tech, I think, in skincare is really moving toward what we are offering. And that's digging into the botanical side of things and all of these ingredients that people have in the past kind of considered, like bohemian aspects of herbalist and that sort of thing. But these ingredients are powerful. I think I spoke earlier about an ingredient called bakuchiol. It's one of the ones that's kind of like a buzzword ingredient right now. But it is the equivalent of like a manufactured retinol, which is a huge, very pricey product in the industry right now. I really think that companies are getting more creative with the way that they're approaching manufacturing products and the ingredients that they use. Also, people are doing, preventative skincare where you're maintaining the skin's health versus corrective skincare, because there is a marketing tactic that's often used. It's like you lean into someone's, the things that are wrong with someone, and you offer them what it is that you have that can fix it. But I think people are looking at more preventing aging, versus addressing it once it's already caused damage. It's like anti
Right.
wrinkle, anti aging. You know, people are doing more, as well as companies are doing more to present skincare to younger and younger people. It was kind of before, it was more of a mature skin type thing. And it really is about preventative maintenance. It's like changing the oil in your car to keep it from breaking down in the future, making sure that you get tune-ups and things like that. So, hopefully there's, uh, it comes to a point where people are excited about using products that can help them maintain the skin that they have, and not have to, do so much corrective work.
Right. Right. You know, uh, I have these other questions right here. You kind of answered that right there, without even, because I was going to ask you about that, a couple of different things you just said, but the things of how you're getting, how do you stay informed about the industry and the trends that's going on. I know you said your product are more for, or it's not more for, it's for everybody, but I'm assuming it was more for melanated, people of
But it was
color.
built on my skin. So it was definitely, I'm looking for the effectiveness on skin that looks like mine. And so when, working for a product, when I was working on my product, I was making sure that, you know, there it was not causing any additional damage to melanated skin, that melanated skin, the way that dark spots are treated with melanated skin, because there are oftentimes, there are challenges with hyperpigmentation or uneven tone, and products that address those concerns sometimes they're not always the best product for melanated skin. So making sure that what I'm offering is what I use. I mean, these are the products I use every day. So it's my I'm not going to ask someone to use something that I'm not using. And so making sure that the products that I was using were working for me and the skin that I have, which is brown skin, was essential. That was not it wasn't an option.
Right. Yeah, because that's what I was, ultimately, that's what I was going to be asking too. Is, I mean, I know a lot of other products that they have, that when it comes to skincare, are they thinking about the I guess the race, I guess that would be of, the because we do have different kind of skin, or Samoan, Hispanics, Asians, what I mean,
Yeah. I mean, even
Spanish. I'm pretty sure.
East Asians and Indian culture, they have, the melanin is no different. So anybody
Right.
who has brown skin, there's always hyperpigmentation, especially in, being having products that work for you versus working for someone else. They may not always work. And, that's why it's also important when you're looking for products and asking important questions, even in, like a dermatology setting, or, a lot of people do fillers and things, peels and things like that. Some of that stuff isn't ideal for us. So, making sure that what I'm offering someone is something that I would use on my own skin. The companies aren't always, there are definitely companies out there that, are inclusive and, try to do their due diligence, to make sure that the products work for a wide variety of people, but nothing works for everyone. um, and I just tried to make sure that, it was something that it was good for most people. And of those most people were definitely going to be my people. So
Right. Right. That is always important, and I can't stress it enough when we say that these things, I mean, everybody is, I got United Minority Business Ventures. So, the whole umbrella of being a minority of the, people of color, people of a heritage or a culture that has been more on the, I should say, they've been used as a stepping stone
mhm.
for the other races, or in history. If you read history, so a lot of cultures and stuff have actually shaped America and all that type of stuff, and shaped the all of this things that going on. We're responsible for a lot of inventions and
Mhm.
different things of that nature, but we're not getting we're not getting the recognition.
Well, we go
And
unrecognized and underserved in a lot of capacities, across the board. And, I'm not going to be one to add to the underserved portion of that, so it was, like I said, it was important for me to make sure that, my products were, you know, melanated skin friendly. And, of course, as someone that was dealing with my own personal health challenges, autoimmune issues, and things like that, just gentle, but effective. So, you're kind of getting what you need. I hope that everyone who uses my product is getting what they need from it. And I always try to, even at my live events, making sure that, people feel like they can reach out to me, ask questions. I try to answer them the best way I can, and, you know, um, make them feel comfortable. Like, I want them to be comfortable using my product and know that I have the best interest of their skin and how they feel about it at heart, because I've been in their shoes if they're experiencing challenges with it.
all right, well, that brings me into this next question, right? You led the way right into it. Okay, what advice do you have for an individual seeking your same type of career path to get into, I guess, the skincare industry, or just to be able to take care of the upkeep of, their pigmentation?
Well, it really comes down to kind of educating yourself consistently. I read a lot of industry journals. I try to do as many industry events that I can as far as a business person. But knowing as a consumer, no, it really kind of investigating and exploring. Don't just kind of fall into the trap, oh, that everybody says this is great. People on TikTok love it, whatever the case may be. You have to really make a cognitive decision to choose what works for you. It's not going to work for everybody. Just because if something works for one person, they may have different challenges than you. Knowing what your challenges actually are, whether you have dry skin or normal skin or oily skin, whether or not you actually know what kind of skin you have because you're under the impression that it's dry, but the cleanser that you're using is actually what's drying your skin out. Looking at ingredients, really exploring the labels, what the ingredients are, what they mean, what they do. Um, if it's, and it can feel overwhelming, and don't feel like if one thing doesn't work, it's the, it, sometimes it's not the product. Sometimes it's, kind of, you're not following the instructions kind of thing. This is something that I get when people talk to me about dark spots. The If you're struggling with dark spots on your face and you're not using sunscreen, you'll always be struggling with dark spots because you have to wear sunscreen. Because typically dark spot correctors require that you wear sunscreen on top of it. But it's like really just educating yourself about skin and how things work. Sorry about that. Just educating yourself about skin, the ingredients, how things work. And that's on both sides of the business. That's as a consumer, but it's also as a business owner. Like I constantly have to be up on what is actually occurring in the industry, what new innovations and things are available to me. So that, that's kind of the advice that I have, is always stay current, always stay relevant, and always stay educated.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Keith?
Yeah, I see that as one of the things that as an entrepreneur you're passing something down that is important, because not everybody is able to sit there. They do their product, they go to the pop-up tents, they sell everything, but are they really learning about what they're doing? Are they really learning about the product that they're selling so that they can be better able to, communicate that to the customer, right? Whether it's clothing, whether it's makeup, whether it's making jewelry, whether it's
Yeah.
just whatever the craft
Because
is, it's important for you to
stay on top of the trends of things too. Like say, for example, a clothing, company, you don't want to keep selling the same looks if that's not what people are looking for. If you're selling jewelry, you don't want to keep selling the same looks if that's not what people are looking for. If I have products where, my ingredients are antiquated, people aren't going to want to, you know, be interested in them. Or if I'm not expanding my brand or expanding my line into areas that are innovative or kind of top of the industry, it puts you at a disadvantage.
Right.
Yes, 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 yes. And this goes to one of my things I like to be able to say, is, here at KF&JF podcast, right? We're establishing this to be able to go out into the community and help uplift our entrepreneurs, to bring them to light and show them to our viewers and whatnot. I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the importance of this show, and how can we be better at helping entrepreneurs out there? Can you let us know what you see this podcast doing and how it can be effective?
One of the things that I think I like the most about the podcast is that you get to hear the experience of other entrepreneurs. There's always a tendency as a small business owner to feel alone in things. You feel like you're the only person that's struggling with something. You're the only person that's having that challenge. You're the only person who this has ever happened to, or felt like giving up, throwing in the towel. And hearing other people's experiences, hearing people speak motivationally about where they were versus where they are, the challenges that they've faced and, kind of been able to overcome. I think putting that all in one place and having these conversations is very helpful, not only just to existing small business owners, but potential small business owners, people who may be on the brink of thinking they're going to start a business. It would have been great for me when I was, kind of doubting myself about, can I do this? Do I want to do this? To have a landing spot where I could go and kind of hear other people's experience. I think that, and especially having it be around Black people, because our experience is different. And so hearing from someone who is a reflection of you and the experience that they're having versus the experience of other people, everyone is very different, but it is extremely impactful. So I think as far as this particular vehicle for information, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we want to try to continue to build on, because there's a lot to be said for the podcast and what we've been trying to bring forward to all of the people that's been on so far is to try to have a networking where you can look back at a video and see something that you can learn from someone
Right.
else, like you said, someone that hasn't even or don't know how to go about their business, but they can see the importance of staying with it, or what it takes to succeed. And some people are in the same industry that you're in, so you can learn some of the things that either the mistakes they're making or some of the mistakes you're making. So
Right.
all of those things are what this podcast is about, and Razak and I, with him out there doing all of the rebuilding for small businesses to help them with, try to get their websites, to try to help them figure out where they want to put themselves out there as far as product, and building that base for them so that they can be able to launch from.
Right.
So together we have the goal of making sure that the podcast stay on top of that. And by you coming on and by others coming on to do that, it just really is so important going forward. One of the things I like to ask you is, since we've been having this conversation, what are some of the insights that you have pulled from the whole conversation that you can give to our listeners to help them really understand that not only is entrepreneurial business something you should think about, and you should be able to make sure that you really want to do it, because otherwise you're just gonna spend money if you're not in it from your heart.
Well, I feel like one of the things is to not be fearful. Kind of don't, if it's something that you really feel a passion for and something you really feel like you can do, definitely go ahead, move forward, and give it a shot. But also do all your research, make sure you're prepared because it's not for the weak. There's a lot of time, especially in the building stages. You're not going to, I feel like I work harder than I ever have as a small business owner than I did in an environment where someone was writing me a paycheck. But I feel like you're going to feel the satisfaction that comes from that because it's all for you. I just think that knowing that it's hard work, not taking it for granted, and if you do decide that it is something that you want to do, to go ahead and do it. And again, my core advice is to find people who do things well. It's like have people around you that know what they're doing, and don't live in a fear space. You really, as a small business owner, have to have a bit of courageousness at all times. So, always feel like the decisions that you're making, you've thought them through and move forward with them, in the best way you can. And you're going to roll the dice, and, hopefully you win at the end.
Ain't that the truth? So what excites you? What excites you going forward in your business? What excites you that you've gotten all of this, affirmation about your product? People like it. You know about it. You're educated about it. What excites you going forward to bring it out there to those customers?
The new lines really excite me, like the development that we're doing and really trying to expand our product and create like a fully fleshed out brand. So really growth is probably the most exciting thing to me right now. But also just, I mean, summer's coming up and I love doing the in-person events, the vendor fairs and pop-ups. So I'm really excited about that. We'll be doing some sampling of some of those things. So people will be able to get free samples for things. We'll be doing research and signing people up for things for test groups and focus groups and stuff. Because we do usually have people test our products in advance so that we can get feedback on any adjustments or, you know, shifts we need to make, or you know, there are things that people just don't like and we can do things to modify that and you know really make the product what it needs to be. So those are the kind of things I'm most excited about right now.
Wow, that's great. Is it anything about the show so far that we have not talked about that you would like to take the time to talk about it and bring it up to our listeners and educate them in any way that you want?
No, I think it's, I mean, mostly just, you know, for what I do as far as skincare, just making sure that people aren't getting like down on themselves about their skin not, you know, kind of doing what they'd like it to do. There are all sorts of um, opportunities for healing and that sort of thing. But again, my one thing for everyone, and it fits the bill in all situations, is to just be grateful for every day and have gratitude. Nothing fancy to tell, um, but really being, you know, glad about what you do have that's going well and be appreciative of that.
All right.
Hey, Razak, you have anything you'd like to add to this, man?
Well, I would like to say, when you're doing those test products, send me one.
I would
I'll
be
test it
happy
out for
to.
you.
I send you guys a sample pack. But yeah, we do a lot of, you know, we'll send out samples for people, especially when
Yeah,
we're testing things, and give them the opportunity to try. We need to know how it acts on everybody's skin, and if they, and uh, you know, genuine constructive criticism is always helpful, and authentic feedback, you know, where
Right, right.
people are giving their, you know, unfiltered opinions. It just makes
yeah,
us better, you know, because we've asked, that means that we're asking the right questions, we're offering the right things. So
Well, you got a light skinned
yeah.
one there to test it on. you,
Yeah, that's what I liked
you
about
know exactly.
when yeah, the minute I seen you, I was like, okay, yeah, what I mean, because light skin, it's a different. You have melanated skin and you have light skin. You know what I mean? So
you
it's
got
still a
melanin,
different.
sir. You've got melanin. You just
Yeah,
have
he,
an
yeah,
extra
he.
less
Well,
of it.
I think he's dark skinned. I think he's dark skinned from here. He keep going in and out of that light. I don't know, man.
Hey,
He might be dark skinned.
no, no,
We're
but see,
skinny.
I was asking you that because I'm getting older, so it's like I be getting those I don't know if this applies to like these little moles or something. I be getting these little moles out of nowhere. I don't know. I never had that stuff. And with my auntie that I was mentioning earlier, she had this is like a lot of years ago. I just remember her. She had passed away like a lot of years ago, but she had those little things on her face, and I be thinking like is some of this stuff in a hereditary type of condition that they have, and and
Some of it
and
is
and
genetic, some
I
of
don't know
it's
if you
dietary.
is dietary.
Some of it is dietary, some of it is genetic. Like people who
Okay.
tend to have moles, if I'm not mistaken, it can be more genetic when you have like moles around your eyes. And then two, it can be environmental, all that sort of stuff. Dermatologists are great at telling you exactly where it's coming from and that sort of thing. But yeah,
Hmm.
it can be a
Yeah,
variety.
because when you because I'm thinking like when you said dark spots, because I be thinking in the skin. I don't know. The older I get, the more I be like really looking at my skin and stuff like that. And I'm thinking I don't know if I necessarily need help right about now, but because the sun, what I mean, I kind of like when it's the sun, I be having my hat on, I be putting all
Well,
this
that's
stuff that's
good.
really
Some
you know
protection it does. You can get things like age spots and stuff like that, and it can be from overexposure to the
Yeah,
sun. But you should always be
yeah.
wearing sunscreen. Sunscreen is your best friend, and don't take for granted sun protection. The sun is a powerful tool in the sky, and it can do a. We take it for granted. Like when we're younger, you're hanging out, you got your tank top on. A sunburn is not a big deal, or you think, but
I burn.
you can get burned. Black
I'll
people
burn out there,
burn. I get
man.
sunburned
I,
so easily.
I might have a skin condition because that sun, it does a number on me. That's it just I don't know. And I bake.
All it
I'll get a
does
whole
giving
different
you
shade of
vitamin
color
D.
coming up. Uh,
It's giving you vitamin D. That's it. That
man,
Okay, it's
vitamin
gonna
D
give
is
you
that dark
vitamin
skin that
C.
you get.
You need to have on
Yeah,
sunscreen. Don't get vitamin
sunscreen.
C.
vitamin D is for dark skin. It's giving you dark skin, man.
Man,
You dark skin still needs sunscreen.
yeah,
Stop
I
playing with
agree.
yeah.
I agree.
You
I
need
Still
agree.
need
I
it.
agree.
sunscreen. Brown people get
I
melanomas.
agree.
Brown people get skin cancer.
Yeah,
Melanin is not sunscreen. You still need sunscreen. You need to
still need
protect
sunscreen.
your melanin.
Clear it up. Clear it up. Facts. You
Well,
know.
because it
Well,
causes early onset of wrinkles. You get
well,
dried up and wrinkly faster from it.
Mhm.
It's like roasting a turkey. Like that's what it's like. So if you want to
Yeah.
roast a turkey for 45 years, then go ahead. But you need to put some sunscreen on your turkey. It's gonna
woo,
get
that's a
if
good
you get
turkey, boy. I
turkey
love
neck,
that.
all that dry skin is gonna you're gonna look like a leather
Awesome.
handbag. Put on some
Yeah.
sunscreen.
All right. Okay.
I've
Okay.
obviously
Okay.
been
All
triggered.
right.
I
Now you got
apologize.
it all, man. I like turkey. I like you a good golden brown turkey, boy. That's
Golden
shit.
You
brown.
want to
Shoot, I
eat
see
turkey.
that
You don't want to
skin a
look
little
like
tough there.
turkey. You
Yeah.
don't want to look
Oh,
like
okay.
turkey.
Okay. See,
Yeah,
that's
there's a
you just made a important point with skincare.
Man.
You want to make sure you ain't looking like no turkey. Oh my
nobody
Yeah.
goodness,
wants
that's great. Well, you know what?
handbag leather face.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Keith,
want to
we're just gonna
tell you,
thank you for being on the
Erica,
show.
I'm
Yeah.
really, really proud that you came on the show. I'm just so happy. I am so happy that you came on. It's been fun. It's one of those things that I'm looking forward to making sure we can get it out to our audience as soon as possible because there's a lot of good information that you have talked about. There's a lot of words that you've used in your industry that people out there that's going to know about as far as skincare is concerned. And I know that there's just things that is in your future that's going to make this business just explode because you're dedicated to it. You educated yourself in a way that has made it so that you feel like this is a part of you because it is. It's been something that you put together for your skin and for people that look like you. So I just think that we're so proud to have had you on the show, and we look forward to doing more shows with you and learning about what you've been doing and new products that you come out with in the future. And I hope that we've been gracious to you and been able to allow you to share as much as you wanted to on this show because KF&JF podcast is definitely dedicated to uplifting small businesses. And you're definitely one that we pray that we've uplifted or can continue to share with our other viewers out there. So,
I
Razak.
appreciate you guys for having me.